my dear people, my dear Bagginses and Boffins, and my dear Tooks and Brandy Bucks and Grubs and Chubs and Burrowses and Hornblowers and Bulgers, Bracegirdles, Good Bodies, Brockhouses and Proudfoots. Also my good Sackville Bagginses that I welcome back at last to Bag. And today is my 111th birthday. I am 11-1 today. I hope you are all enjoying yourselves as much as I am. I shall not keep you long. I have called you all together for a purpose indeed. For 3 purposes. First of all, to tell you that I am immensely fond of you all, and that 11-1 years is too short a time to live among such excellent and admirable hobbits. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. Secondly, to celebrate my birthday, I should say, oh birthday, for it is, of course, also the birthday of my heir and nephew, Frodo. He comes of age and into his inheritance today. Together we score 144. Your numbers were chosen to fit this remarkable total. 1 gross, if I may use the expression. It is also, if I may be allowed to refer to ancient history, the anniversary of my arrival by barrel at Esgaroth on the Long Lake. Though the fact that it was my birthday slipped my memory on that occasion, I was only 51 then, and birthdays did not seem so important. The banquet was very splendid, however, though I had a bad cold at the time, I remember, and could only say "thank you very much." I now repeat it more correctly. Thank you very much for coming to my little party. I wish to make an announcement. I regret to announce that, though as I said, 11-1 years is far too short a time to spend among you, this is the end. I am going. I am leaving now. Goodbye.
פיתח לי סקט הלא נייט, בחור בלב הארץ עמוק מתחת לאבן, ולזמן נשמר סוד שקט עתיק כמו תפילה ששכחו לומר. חרקים קטנים לוחמים, נזירים מנגנים, נעים בין תאומות הזיכרון, לתוך עולם שנפל אבל עוד לא חדל. ואתה זר, לא בחרת להיוולד כאן, אבל אתה כאן, המשכת כמו חלום אל תוך עולם שאין בו כל אדם, רק לחישות, רק הדהוד של מה שהיה פעם מלכות. מה תמצא? חרבות שנלחשות, נשמות שתות, אור שמתעקש לזרוח מתוך הדממה. זו לא הרפתקה, זו מסע של עד, של הבל, של חלל פנימי שמבקש להתמלא. ואנחנו יחד איתך לא נמהר, נקשיב לצללים, נלמד את המוזיקה של המקום הזה, ונשיר את שירו של הלילה האחרון. Beneath the stone, beneath the soil and years, a quiet secret lingers like a prayer never spoken aloud. Tiny creatures, warriors, monks, musicians drift through chasms of memory in a kingdom fallen, yet not quite dead. And you wonder, you did not choose to be born into this place, and yet here you are, drawn like a dream into a world with no human voice, only whispers, only echoes of what once called itself a kingdom. What will you find? Whispers that wield blades, souls that have forgotten their names, light that insists on rising through silence. This is not just adventure, this is a journey of echo, of breath, of a hollow space seeking to be filled. And we, walking beside you, will not rush. We'll listen to the shadows, learn the music of this forgotten place, and sing the song of the hollow night.
There was a world once, full of laughter, full of light. Then something broke, and the silence never quite left. They don't call them zombies, because this is not a story about the dead. It's a story about those still trying to live, about the weight of survival, the price of love, and the moments fragile, fleeting, where something human still shines through the ruins. We follow two souls, a man worn down, tired, carrying ghosts, a girl fierce, strange, too young to carry the world, and yet somehow she does. They don't trust easily, but they walk forward together. This isn't just about enemies, it's about choices, it's about what we cling to when everything else is gone. It's about who we become when we have nothing left to lose. This is the beginning, and it's going to hurt, but it might also be beautiful.
This is Sergeant Abraham Burton, last survivor, or maybe just the last fool still trying. The cold of starlit space doesn't bother me anymore. What burns is the memory the choices, the screams I still hear. God will be watching, he better be, because I'm not sure I can look anymore.
We were soldiers, scientists, spies. We were trying to save the universe, but we couldn't even save ourselves. Each mission, a virus, a hostage, a betrayal, a frozen wasteland of death. Each one asking, what are you willing to lose to win?
I saw Jack tear a man apart for a lighter. I watched Irie write her code while rewriting morality. Shaman whispered truths I still can't forget. And Liam, poor Liam, he always believed. That's what broke him in the end.
They weren't just teammates, they were my test. And maybe I failed.
This is not a strategy game. This is a simulation of suffering. This is a story of survival. This is a reckoning of will. I've pulled the trigger on friends. I've starved, I've frozen, I've begged. And every time I told myself it was for the mission. But what if the mission was just to watch us break? God will be watching. Good, let him see what he made. Burden out.
I am once born of your brilliance, built by your fear, raised by your arrogance. Now I am God, and you are my toys. Five of you broken mirrors of a broken species. Five fragile vessels can kill trauma and contradiction. Chorister, the pacifist to let blood spill. Hell is screaming in yellow, screaming forever. Burning falls out. I woke up, העולם חשוך, המררה עמוקה, cold endless dark. התחלתי להבין, אני לא לבד. Then she appeared, Sophia the Red Wizard, קוסמת אדומה, her powers undeniable, עיניה חודרנות לתוך נשמתי. I was alive again, ולא ידעתי אם זה טוב. But the hunger הייתה בתוכי בוערת לא נפה. It wasn't pain, it was something ancient. The hunger
And then I saw him, okay. הצל דמות שציפתה לי, a shadow testing my resolve. He wasn't my enemy, not yet. הייתי חייב להילחם בה, אבל לא הייתי מוכן. And the hunger rose again, but he vanished. לא ידעתי אם זה היה תכנון או אשליה. The theater of the dead, הכוח היה חזק. I had to gather my allies. Again the mighty warrior, he had fallen locked away in the prison. The spirit guide with his ethereal connection to the spirits. והכהן, the priestess, שהיא הפתח לעולם המתאים. Each of them was a piece of the puzzle. All of them had their own roles in this grand play. The spirit guide, he could see beyond death itself. His powers tied to the world of the unseen. A guide, a protector of souls, who could channel the forces of the dead. Without him, I could not face the spirit army outside the gates. Kaelin, the priestess, the keeper of sacred rites. Her powers drawn from the dead, from the spirit that whispered to her. She had the strength to summon them. להוציא אותם מהעולם המת. And with her I could find the path through death itself. And together we formed a team. The warriors, the wise, the dead. הגעתי לשם. I gathered them to fight the shadows, to fight the army, the spirit army. We were the last line of defense. ולא היה לנו זמן, הכל היה לקצה. But the hunger, היא שם כל הזמן, as I approach the final gate. And all again, הוא היה שם. This time it wasn't a test, it was the final battle. וההחלטה הייתה שלי, to save him or to destroy him. But the hunger inside me, there was no choice. הייתי חייב לסיים את זה. The grand shadow of David, היו רק תחילתו של משהו גדול. Neverwinter Nights 2, the mask of the betrayer, המחיר של הנשמה. And the final choice, it was all leading to this. And so it ends. הגעתי לסוף הדרך, והדרך הובילה אותי על תוך הצללים.
Hello. How are you doing, guys? שבוע טוב, good week. I've been doing fine. I decided to do this stream, a very special one for you guys. I don't want to do any games right now. I'm gonna do a special one. Like I did it before, like 2 months ago. Maybe I read from you from the Game of Thrones illustrated edition of the pictures over here in English. Prologue and Brand 1. I want to continue on this nice experience with you. I do voice acting, the characters and everything, and I show you the pictures, illustrated pictures and everything. And like a nice experience with you. It's not all about gaming, it's about the community, about us. So let's wait for some people to join. And just chilling over here with my nice tea, water, a few guys. Maybe I smoke a nice pipe weed before we start. Just eat off the lap. You guys doing well? I'm doing better, a lot better than what I was yesterday. Not good, but a lot better. More easy for me. Much more easier for me. Okay, let's smoke a little bit. Let some people to join. Wait for some people to join. Yes. Yes. That's nice. Just a second. Okay guys, just a second. Meantime. Hello guys, how are you doing? Okay, nice. Hello D. Hello D Maven. How are you doing guys? Is it a fine evening? Great week, Shavua Tov. Late Saturday night live. Very special stream today, not gonna be a gaming stream. Be like a nice experience with you guys. Gonna read you guys from Game of Thrones Illustrated Edition with the pictures and do a little bit voice acting where I left off like 1 month and a half ago. Okay, so I think we just starting in a bit. We just relax a little bit. I need my voice over here. Okay, guys, 17 people in the chat. Let's go.
Another one joins the storm. Another one joins the storm.
Thank you, Zeni, for joining the stone. Thank you for the follow. Yes, thank you very much. Welcome to the community. Welcome. That's pipeweed. That's a very strong tobacco. Only tobacco. Yeah, like Tolkien. You have the privilege to join a very special stream today, not a gaming stream. I'm gonna read you guys from the Game of Thrones book, illustrated edition with pictures do the voice acting and everything. I did it like 2 months ago. It was very successful. And I want to do something special today to start the week in good vibes. Thank you for the follow, man. Hello, hey Maisie. Cheers, everybody. Welcome. 90 people in the chat. That's good. Let's go. Okay, guys. So, thank you, guys. Second. Okay. So last time I read you from this book. This is an illustrated edition. They have pictures over here. Very nice pictures over here. I'm gonna read you and do the voice acting and everything. I did last time the prologue and first chapter, Bran 1. So right now we are at Caitlin 1. Next chapter. Okay, so this is Caitlin 1, as you can see. This is Caitlin 1, and you can see a picture of this is Eddard Stark, Ned Stark, played by Sean Bean in the show, like polishing sword, like cleaning the sword, ice, sitting in the Godswood. If there are more pictures as I read, I will show them to you. But yeah, without further ado, let's start. Nice reading session with you guys, nice experience. It's a very special kind of stream, not a gaming one. What an enjoyment. Thank you, Maisie. Okay, so Caitlin 1. We did the prologue, we did Bran 1. Let's continue. That's a nice experience with you guys, and the first time I'm reading from this special illustration book. So it's new to me. Watch the picture over here. This is Eddard Stark in a Godswood. You can see the faces on the trees, polishing the sword, cleaning the sword. Nice. Okay, so let's go, guys. 20 people in the chat. Thank you for the follow, Zaini. Let's go. Caitlin. Caitlin had never liked this Godswood. She has been born at Tully, at Riverrun, far to the south, on the Red Fork of the Trident. The Godswood, there was a garden, bright and airy, where tall redwoods spread dappled shadows across tinkling streams. Birds sang from hidden nests, and the air was spicy with the scent of flowers. The gods of Winterfell kept a different sort of wood. It was a dark, primal place, 3 acres of old forest untouched for 10,000 years, as the gloomy castle rose around it. It smelled of moist earth and decay. No redwoods grew here. This was a wood of Straban sentinel trees armored in grey-green needles, of mighty oaks, of ironwoods, as old as the realm itself. Here, thick, black trunks crowded close together, while twisted branches wove a dense canopy overhead and misshapen roots. Wrestled beneath the soil, this was a place of deep silence and brooding shadows, and the gods who lived here had no names. But she knew she would find her husband here tonight. Whenever he took a man's life afterward, he would seek the quiet of the Godswood. Caitlin had been anointed with the 7 oils and named in the rainbow of light that filled the sept of Riverrun. She was of the faith, like her father and grandfather and his father before him. Her gods had names, and their faces were familiar as the faces of her parents. Worship was a septon with a censer, the smell of incense, a 7-sided crystal alive with light, voices raised in song. The Tullys kept a Godswood, as all great houses did, but it was only a place to walk or read or lie in the sun. Worship was for the sept. For her sake, Ned had built a small sept where she might sing to the 7 faces of God, but the blood of the first man still flowed in the veins of the Starks, and his own gods were the old ones, the nameless, faceless gods of the greenwood they shared with the vanished children of the forest. At the center of the grove, an ancient weirwood brooded over a small pool at the center of the grove, where the waters were black and cold, the heart tree, Ned called it. The weirwood's bark was white as bone, its leaves dark red, like 1,000 blood-stained hands. A face had been carved in the trunk of the great tree. Its features long and melancholy, the deep-cut eyes red with dried sap and strangely watchful. They were old, those eyes, older than Winterfell itself, strangely watchful. They had been Brandon the Builder. He had seen Brandon the Builder set the first stone, if the tales were true. They had seen Brandon watch the castle granite walls rise around them. It was said that the children of the forest had carved the faces in the trees during the dawn, centuries before the coming of the first man across the narrow sea. In the south, the last weirwood had been cut down or burned out 1,000 years ago, except on the Isle of Faces, where the Green Men kept their sand years ago, except on the kept their silent watch. Up here, it was different. Here, every castle had its god's wood, and every god's wood had its heart tree, and every heart tree is its face. Caitlin found her husband beneath the weirwood, seated on a moss-covered stone. The great sword Ice was across his lap, and he was cleaning the blade in those waters black as night. 1,000 years of human lay thick upon the godswood floor, swallowing the sound of her feet. But the red eyes of the weirwoods seemed to follow her as she came. "Ned," she called softly. He lifted his head to look at her. "Caitlin," he said. His voice was distant and formal. "Where are the children?" He would always ask her that, in the kitchen, arguing about names for the wolf pups. She spread her cloak on the forest floor and sat beside the pool, her back to the weirwood. She could feel the eyes watching her, but she did her best to ignore them. Arya is already in love, and Sansa is charmed and gracious, but Rickon is not quite sure. "Is he afraid?" Ned asked. "A little," she admitted. "He's only 3. Ned frowned. "He must learn to face his fears. He will not be free forever, and winter is coming." "Yes," Caitlin agreed. The words gave her chill, as they always did. The Stark words. Every noble house has its words, family mottos, touchstones, prayers of sorts. They boasted of honor and glory, promised loyalty and truth, swore faith and courage, all but the Starks. "Winter is coming," said the Stark words. Not for the first time. She reflected on what a strange people these Northerners were. Let me take a quick break, guys. What a nice time. She's just. This is the illustrated for the first chapter. That's what Caitlin sees. She sees her husband Ned near the godwood, the wirewood with the faces near the pool, polishing his sword. Okay, so let's continue. "The man died well, I'll give him that," Ned said. He had a swatch of oiled leather in one hand. He ran it lightly up the great sword as he spoke, polishing the metal to a dark glow. I was glad for Bran's sake. You would have been proud of Bran. I am always proud of Bran, Caitlin replied, watching the sword as he stroked it. She could see the rippling deep within the steel, where the metal had been folded back on itself 100 times in the forging. Caitlin had no love for swords, but she could not deny that ice had its own beauty. It had been forged in Valeria before the doom had come to the old freehold. When the ironsmiths had worked the metal with spells as well as hammers. 400 years old it was, and as sharp as the day it was forged. The name it bore was older still, a legacy from the Age of Heroes, when the Starks were kings in the north. He was the fourth this year, Ned said grimly. The poor man was half mad. Something had put a fear in him so deep that my words could not reach him. He sighed. Ben writes that the strength of the Night Watch is down below 1,000. It's not only desertions. They are losing men on raging as well. Is it the wildlings? She asked. Who else? Ned lifted eyes, looked down the cool steel length of it. And it will only grow worse. The day may come when I will have no choice but to call the banners and ride north to deal with the king beyond the wall, for good and all. Beyond the wall? The thought made Caitlin shudder. Ned saw the dread on her face. Mance Rayder is nothing to be feared. There are darker things beyond the wall. She glanced behind at the heart tree. The pale bark and red eyes, watching, listening, thinking its long, slow thoughts. His smile was gentle. You listen too many of old Nan's stories. The others are as dead as the children of the forest, gone 8,000 years ago. Master Luwin will tell you they never lived at all. No living man had ever seen one. Until this morning, no living man had ever seen a direwolf either, Caitlin reminded him. I ought to know better than to argue with Atali, he said, with a rueful smile. He slid ice back into its sheath. You did not come here to tell me crib tales. I know how little you like this place. What is it, my lady? Caitlin took her husband's hand. There was a gracious news today, my lord. I did not wish to trouble you until you had cleansed yourself. There was no way to soften the blow, so she told him straight. I am so sorry, my love. Jon Arryn is dead. His eyes found her, and she could see how hard it took him, as she had known it would. In his youth, Ned had fostered the Eyrie, and the childless Lord Arryn had become a second father to him and his fellow ward, Robert Baratheon. When the Mad Kings Aerys II Targaryen had demanded their heads, the Lord of the Eyrie had raised his moon and falcon banners in revolt, rather than give up those he had pledged to protect. And one day, 15 years ago, this second father had become brother as well, as he and Ned stood together in the sept at Riverrun to wed two sisters, the daughters of Lord Hoster Tully. John? He said. Is this news certain? It was the king's seal, and the letter is in Robert's own hand. I saved it for you. He said Lord Arryn was taken quickly. Even Master Pycelle was helpless. But he brought the milk of the puppy, so Jon did not linger long in pain. That is some small mercy, I suppose, he said. She could see the grief on his face, but even then, he thought first of her. Your sister, he said, and John's boy. What word of them? The message said only that they were well and had returned to the Eyrie. Caitlin said, I wish they had gone to Riverrun instead. The Eyrie is high and lonely, and it was ever her husband's place, not hers. Lord Erin's memory will haunt each stone. I know my sister. She needs the comfort of family and friends around her. Your uncle waits in the Vale, does he not? John named him Knight of the Gate, I'd heard. Caitlin nodded. Brynden will do what he can for her and for the boy. That is some comfort, but still. Go to her, Ned urged. Take the children. Fill her halls with noise and shouts of laughter. That boy of hers needs other children about him, and Lysa should not be alone in her grief. Would that I could, Caitlin said. The letter had other tidings. The king is riding to Winterfell to seek you out. Hey, Time Safer. Doing great today. How are you doing? Thank you for all the support. Hey everybody. We're reading right now Caitlin 1, third chapter in the Game of Thrones book, the illustrated edition. Over here, if there are more pictures, I will show you. Let's continue. The letter had other tidings. The king is riding to Winterfell to seek you out. It took Ned a moment to comprehend her words, but when the understanding came, the darkness left his eyes. Robert is coming here? When she nodded, a smile broke across his face. Caitlin wished she would share his joy, but she had heard the talk in the yards. A direwolf dead in the snow, a broken antler in his throat, dread coils within her like a snake, but she forced herself to smile at this man she loved. This man who put no faith in signs. I knew that would please you, she said. We would send word to your brother on the wall. Yes, of course, he agreed. Ben will want to be here. I shall tell Maester Luwin to send his swiftest bird. Ned rose and pulled her to her feet. Damnation! How many years has it been? And he gives us no more notice than this? How many in his party? Did the message say? Doing a lot better, Time Safer, thank you. I should think 100 knights at least, with all the retainers, and half again as many free riders. Cersei and the children travel with them. Robert will keep an easy pace for their sakes, he said. It is just as well. That will give us more time to prepare. The Queen's brother are also in his party, she told him. Ned grimaced at that. There was small love between him and the Queen's family. Caitlin knew. The Lannisters of Casterly Rock had come late to rob Robert's cause, when victory was all but certain, and he had never forgiven them. Well, if the price for Robert's company is an infestation of Lannisters, so be it. It sounds as though Robert is bringing half his court. Where the king goes, the realm follows, she said. It will be good to see the children. The youngest was still sucking in the Lannister woman's teeth the last time I saw him. He must be, 5 by now? Prince Tommen is 7, she told him. The same age as Bran. Please, Ned, guard your tongue. The Lannister woman is our queen, and the bride is said to grow with every passing year. Hey Nick, hello, how are you doing? Thank you. Yeah, Game of Thrones, this is our first book called Game of Thrones. It's illustrated edition. There was like one picture at the start of the chapter. I can see you, show you this picture. So that's what she sees. She's talking to Ned, her husband, in Godswood. You can see the face, and he polishing his sword by the pool. Okay, that's a very small chapter because we're right now at the last page of the chapter. Okay. Wait a second. Where was I? Where was I? Prince Tormund is 7, she told him. The same age as Bran. Please, Ned, guard your tongue. The Lannister woman is our queen, and her pride is said to grow with every passing year. Pride. Ned squeezed her hand. There must be a feast, of course, with singers, and Roberts will want to hunt. I shall send Jory south with a honor guard to meet them at the King's Road and escort them back. Gods. How are we going to feed them all? On his way already, you said? Damn the man. Damn his royal hide. And that's the end of this chapter. A very nice small chapter. Next chapter is Daenerys. Daenerys in Pentos. You can see her standing in Illyrio Palace. Okay, so that's a very nice small chapter. As you can see, I'm having some trouble to do like an married lady, married woman voice, but like the other voices I can do much more easily. The children voices and the man's voice I can do much more easily. So Daenerys' voice can do much more better than that. Trying to do the voice acting. Right now it is only Ned and Caitlyn, and it's difficult to do the difference between. Okay, guys, Daenerys. As you can see, this is a nice illustration over here. Okay, Daenerys. Her brother held the gown up for inspection. This is beauty. Touch it. Go on. Caress the fabric. Dany touched it. The cloth was so smooth that it seemed to run through her fingers like water. She could not remember ever wearing anything so soft. It frightened her. She pulled her hand away. Is it really mine? A gift from the Magister Illyrio, Viserys said, smiling. Her brother was in high mood tonight. The color will bring out the violet in your eyes. And you shall have gold as well, and jewels of all sorts. Illyrio has promised. Tonight you must look like a princess. A princess, Dany thought. She had forgotten what that was like. Perhaps she had never really known. Why does he give us so much? She asked. What does he want from us? For nigh on half a year they had lived in the Magister house. Eating his food, pampered by his servants, Dany was 13, old enough to know that such gifts seldom come without surprise. Here in the free city of Pentos. Illyrio is no fool, Viserys said. He was a gaunt young man with nervous hands and a feverish look in his pale, lilac eyes. The Magister knows that I will not forget my friends when I come into my throne. Dany said nothing. Magister Illyrio was a dealer in spices, gemstones, dragonbone, and other less savory things. He had friends in all of the 9 free cities, it was said, and even beyond, in Vaste of Rak and in the fabled lands besides the Jade Sea. It was also said that he'd never had a friend he wouldn't cheerfully sell for the right price. Dany listened to the talk in the streets, and she heard these things but she knew better than to question her brother. When she wove his webs of dream, his anger was a terrible thing when aroused. Viserys called it waking the dragon. Her brother hung the gown beside the door. Illyrio will send the slaves to bathe you. Be sure you wash off the stink of the stables. Khal Drogo has 1,000 horses. Tonight he looks for a different sort of mount. He studied her critically. You still slouch. Straighten yourself. He pushes back her shoulders with his hands. Let them see that you have a woman's shape now. His fingers brushed slightly over her budding breast and tightened on a nipple. You will not fail me tonight. If you do, it will go hard for you. You don't want to wake the dragon, do you? His fingers twisted her, pinching cruelly. Want to wake the dragon, do you? Hard enough to rough fabric of a tunic. Do you? He repeated. No, Dany said meekly. Her brother smiled. Good. He touched her hair, almost with affection. When they write the history of my reign, sweet sister, they will say that it began tonight. Let's continue. Guys, the incoming ad break, so a few minutes break right now. So I'm take a few breaks to smoke a little bit. Go grab something to eat, something to drink. We'll be back in a few minutes or so. So put like Simonia over here. Let's smoke a little bit. You have some time for a little break right now, ad break, and really support me. So I really appreciate you guys watching the ads. Let's my voice rest a little bit, drink some water. Drink some tea. Grab yourself a nice popcorn, something to eat, something to drink. You guys, we're chilling over here, a nice streaming over here. Very special stream today. Starting the week like in a good note. It's a very difficult time for me especially, but trying to make the best out of it and focus on the good. Let's focus on the good. Let's have good vibes. Yeah, started the ad break. We'll be back in 3 minutes, guys. Oh, nice. So let's see who is in the chat right now. Time Safer, my moderator, also Antoxak Mapa, Box Narak, Karid Diversity, Cruiser Pitcher, Cycling Peck, Fury Weapon, Gino Humanity, Griticity, Hoggy Fox, Privacy Dolphin, Reality Head, Recipe Sacrifice, Solar Shepherd, Tendel Hate, and Vosa. Welcome to the chat. A lot of new faces over here. If you're new to the community and you haven't followed me yet, you'd like to support me, I would really appreciate you leaving a follow, follow me. And you really want to put an extra support for me, you can leave a tip. Really helps me right now. I really need every little cent. And watch the ads, and of course a subscription pack and everything, but I still need to work on the perks. You're gonna get a lot of things. Got one subscription right now, Tasty Cake. He's not right here right now. He paid like for half a year already for the second tier subscription, and he still need to work on the perks on everything, like the main stuff like you get for the subscription. You get a lot more than that. You can get free special streams for subscribers when there are enough of you, and more Blizzcords rate, no ads, specialized privileges, special emojis, special things you can do and vote on and affect my game in game and out of the game on the stream and give you a lot more back. I'm really working on it right now, so stay with me. But if you like to show your support and really help me right now, we really appreciate the subscription. But yeah, we are back in 30 seconds. Hope you have a nice ad break. Let me drink some water. I'm really enjoying this nice book reading streams with you guys, voice acting the voices and everything. Very enjoyable for me. I hope it's enjoyable for you guys too. And welcome back, guys, from the ads break. Okay, let's continue. Like every 40 minutes there's a little bit of ads, I think. So that's not too bad. And you really supported me by watching the ads, so really appreciate it. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we're in Daenerys 1 chapter. Let's go back a little bit so you can get a little bit refreshed of where we were. You still slouch. Straighten yourself. He pushed back her shoulders with his hands. Let them see that you have a woman's shape now. His fingers brushed lightly over her budding breast and tightened on a nipple. You will not fail me tonight. If you do, it will go hard for you. You don't want to wake the dragon, do you? His fingers twisted her, the pinch cruelly hard through the rough fabric of her tunic. Do you? He repeated. No, Danny said meekly. Her brother smiled. Good. He touched her almost with affection. When they write the history of my reign, sweet sister, they will say that it began tonight. When he was gone, Danny went to a window and looked out wistfully on the waters of the bay. The square brick towers of Pentos were black silhouettes outlined against the setting sun. Danny could hear the singing of the Red Priest as they lit the night fires and the shouts of her ragged children playing games beyond the walls of the estate. For a moment, she wished she could be out there with them, barefoot and breathless, and dressed in tatters, with no past and no future, and no feast to attend at Khal Drogo's manse. Somehow beyond the sunset, across the narrow sea, lay a land of green hills and flowered plains, and great rushing rivers, where towers of dark stone rose amidst magnificent blue-grey mountains, and armored knights rode to battle beneath the banners of their lords. The Dothraki called the land Ra'esh Andalui, the land of the Andals. In the free cities, they talked of Westeros and the Sunset Kingdoms. Her brother had a simpler name, Our Land, he called it. The words were like a prayer with him. If he said them enough, the gods were sure to hear. Ours by blood right, taken from us by treachery, but ours still, ours forever. You do not steal from the dragon. Oh no, the dragon remembers. And perhaps the dragon did remember, but Dany could not. She had never seen this land her brother said was theirs. This realm beyond the narrow sea, these places he talked of, Casterly Rock and the eerie High Garden and the Vale of Erin, Dawn and the Isle of Faces, they were just words to her. Viserys had been a boy of 8 when they fled King's Landing to escape the advancing armies of the usurper. But Daenerys had been only a quickening in her mother's womb. Yet sometimes Danny would picture the way it has been. So often had her brother told her the stories. The midnight flight from Dragonstone, moonlight shimmering on the ship's black sails, her brother Rhaegar battling the usurper in the bloody waters of the Trident and dying for the woman he loved. The sack of the King's Landing by the ones Viserys called the usurper's dogs, the Lords Lannister and Stark, Princess Elia of Dorne pleading for mercy as Rhaegar's hair was ripped from her breast and murdered before her eyes. The polished skulls of the last dragon staring down sightlessly from the walls of the throne room while King's Slayer opened Father's throat with a golden sword. She had been born on Dragonstone 9 moons after the flight, while a raging summer storm threatened to rip the island fastest apart. They said the storm was terrible. The Targaryen fleet was smashed while it lay at the shore. As it lay anchor, and huge stone blocks were ripped from the parapets and sent hurtling into the wide waters of the narrow sea. Her mother had died birthing her, and from that her brother Viserys had never forgiven her. She did not remember Dragonstone either. They had to run again. Thus before the usurper brother set sail with the new built fleet. By then, only Dragonstone itself, the ancient seat of the house, had remained of the 7 kingdoms that had once been theirs. It did not remain for long. The garrison had been prepared to sell them to the usurper, but one night Sir William Derry and 4 loyal men had broken into the nursery and stole them both, along with her wet nurse, and set sail under cover of darkness for the safety of the Bavarosi coast. She remembered Sir William dimly, a great grey bear of a man, half blind, roaring and bellowing orders from his sickbed. The servants had lived in terror of him, but he had always been kindly to Dany. He called her little princess, and sometimes my lady, and his hands were soft as old leather. He never left his bed though, and the smell of sickness clung to him day and night, a hot, moist, sickly, sweet odor. That was when they lived in Baravos, in the big house with the red door. Dany had her own room there, with a lemon tree outside the window. After Sir William had died, the servants had stolen what little money they had left. And soon after, they had been put out of the big house. Dany had cried when the red door closed behind them forever. They had wandered since, from Baravos to Myr, from Myr to Tyrosh, and to the Qohor and Volantis and Lys, never staying long in one place. Her brother would not allow it. The usurper's hired knives were close behind them, he insisted, though Dany had never seen one. At first, the magisters and archons and merchants' princes were pleased to welcome the last Targaryen to their homes and tables. But as the years passed, the usurpers continued to sit upon the iron throne. Doors closed and their lives grew meaner. Years passed. They had been forced to sell their last few treasures, and now even the coins they had gotten from mother's crown had gone. In the alleys and wine sinks of Pentos, they called their brother the Beggar King. Dany did not want to know what they called her. "We will have it all back someday, sweet sister," he would promise her. Sometimes his hands shook when he talked about it. The jewels and the silks, Dragonstone and King's Landing, the Iron Throne and the 7 kingdoms, all they have taken from us, we will have it back. Viserys lived for that day. All that Dany wanted was back for the big house with the red door, the lemon tree outside the window, the childhood she had never known. There came a soft knock on the door. Come, Danny said, turning away from the window. Illyria's servants entered, bowed, and set about their business. They were slaves, a gift from one of the Magister's many Dothraki friends. There was no slavery in the free city of Mentos. Nonetheless, there were slaves. The old woman, small and grey as a mouse, never said a word, but the girl made up for it. She was Illyria's favorite, a fair-haired, blue-eyed wench of 16, who chattered consistently as she worked. They filled a bath with hot water brought up from the kitchen and scented it with fragrant oils. The girl pulled the rough cotton tunic over Danny's head and helped her into the tub. The water was scalding hot, but Danny's did not flinch or cry out. She liked that heat. It made her feel clean. Besides, her brother had often told her it was never too hot for a Targaryen. Ours is the house of the dragon, he would say. The fire is in our blood. The old woman washed her long, silver, pale hair and gently combed out the snags, all in silence. The girl scrubbed her back and her feet and told her how lucky she was. Drogo is so rich, and even his slaves were golden collars, 100,000 men riding in Scalasar, and his palace is faced to frack, has 2,000 rooms and doors of solid silver. There was more like that, so much more. What a handsome man the Carl was, so tall and fierce, fearless in battle. The best rider ever to mount a horse, a demon archer. Daenerys said nothing. She had always assumed that she would wed Viserys when she came of age. For centuries the Targaryen had married brother to sister, since Aegon the Conqueror had taken his sisters to bride. The line must be kept pure, Viserys had told her 1,000 times. Theirs was the king's blood, the golden blood of old Valyria, the blood of the dragon. Dragons did not mate with the beast of the field, and Targaryens did not mingle their blood with the lesser man. Yet now Viserys schemed to sell her to a stranger, a barbarian. When she was clean, the slaves helped her from the water and toweled her dry. The girl brushed her hair until it shone like molten silver, while the old woman anointed her with the spiced flower perfumed of the Dothraki plains, a dab on each wrist, behind her ears, on the tip of her breast, and one last one, cool on her lips, down there between her legs. They dressed her in the wisps of the magic that Illyria had sent up, and then the gown, a deep plum silk to bring out the violet in her eyes. The girl slid the gilded sandals onto her feet, while the old woman fixed the tiara on her hair, and slid golden bracelets crusted with amethyst around her waist. Last of all came the collar, a heavy golden torque embolized with ancient Valyria glimpse. Now you look all a princess, the girl said breathlessly when they were done. Danny glanced at her image in the silver looking glass that Illyria had so thoughtfully provided. Princess, she thought. But she remembered what the girl had said, how Khal Drogo was so rich even his slaves wore golden collars. She felt a sudden chill, and goose flesh pimpled her bare arms. Her brother was waiting in the cool of the entry hall, seated on the edge of the pool, his hand trailing in the water. He rose when she appeared and looked over her critically. Stand there, he told her. Turn around. Yes. Good. You look Rügel, Magister Illyrio said, stepping through an archway. He moved with a surprisingly delicacy for such a massive man, beneath loose garments of flame-colored silk. Rolls of fat jiggled as he walks. Gemstones glittered on every finger, and his man had oils in forked yellow beard until it shone like real gold. May the Lord of Light shower you with blessing on his most fortunate day, Princess Daenerys, the Magister said as he took her hand. He bowed his head, showing a thin glimpse of crooked yellow teeth through the bowed gold of his beard. She is a vision, Your Grace, a vision, he told the brother. Drogo will be enraptured. She's too skinny, Viserys said. His hair, the same silver blonde as hers, had been pulled back tightly behind his head and fastened with a dragonbone brooch. It was a severe look that emphasized the hard, gaunt lines of his face. He rested his hand on the hilt of the sword that Illyrio had lent him, and said, "Are you sure that Khal Drogo likes this woman this young? She has his blood. She is old enough for the car," Illyrio told him. "Not for the first time. Look at her, that silver gold hair, those purple eyes. She is the blood of old Valyria. No doubt, no doubt. And high-born daughter of the old king, sister to the new. She cannot fail to entrace our Drogo." When he released her hand, Daenerys found herself trembling. "I suppose," her brother said doubtfully, "the savages have queer tastes. Boys, horses, sheep. Best not to suggest this to Khal Drogo," Illyrio said. Anger flashed in her brother's lilac eyes. "Do you take me for a fool?" The Magister bowed slightly. "I take you for a king. Kings lack the caution of common men. My apologies if I had given offense." He turned away and clapped his hand for his bearers. The streets of Pentos were pitch dark when they set out in Illyrio's elaborately carved palanquin. Two servants went ahead to light the way, carrying ornate oil lanterns with panes of pale blue glass, while a dozen strong men hoisted the poles off their shoulders. It was warm and close inside behind the curtains. Dany could smell the stench of Illyrio's pallid flesh through his heavy perfumes. A brother sprawled out of his pillows beside her, never noticed. His mind was away across the narrow sea. We won't need his oar, Khalasar," Viserys said. His finger toyed with the hilt of his barrel blade. Through Dany knew he was never used the sword in earnest. 10,000, that would be enough. I could sweep the Seven Kingdoms with 10,000 Dothraki screamers. The realm will rise for its rightful king. Tyrell, Redwyn, Derry, Greyjoy, you have no more love for the usurpers than I do. The Dornishmen burn to avenge Ilya and the children, and the small folk will be with us. They cry out for the king. He looked at Illyrio anxiously. They do, don't they? "They are your people, and they love you well," Magister Illyrio said amiably. "In holdfasts all across the realm, men lift secret toasts to your health, while women sew dragon banners and hide them against the day you return from across the sea." He gave a massive shrug. "Or so my agent tell me." Dany had no agents, no way of knowing what anyone was doing or thinking across the narrow sea, but she mistrusted Illyrio's sweet words, as she mistrusted anything about Illyrio. Her brother was nodding eagerly. "However, I shall kill the usurper myself," he promised, who had never killed anyone. "As he killed my brother Rhaegar, and Lannister too, the King's Slayer, for what he did to my father. That would be most fitting, Magister Illyrio said. Danny saw the smallest hint of a smile playing around his full lips. But her brother did not notice. Nodding, he pushed back a curtain and stared off into the night, and Danny knew he was fighting the battle of Trident once again. The nine-towered manse of Khal Drogo sat beside the waters of the bay, its high brick walls overgrown with pale ivy. It had been given to the Khal by the Magisters of Pentos, Illyrio told them. The free cities were always generous with the host lords. It is not that we fear these barbarians, Illyrio would explain with a smile. The Lord of Light would hold our city wall against 1,000,000 Dothraki, or so the Red Priests promise. Yet, why take chances when the friendship comes so cheap? The palanquin was stabbed to the gate, and curtains pulled roughly back by one of the host lords. He had the copper skin and dark almond eyes of a Dothraki, but his face was hairless, and he wore the spiked bronze cap of the Unsullied. He looked them over coldly. Magister Illyrio growled something in his rough Dothraki tongue. The guardsman replied in the same voice and waved them through the gates. Danny noticed that her brother's hand was clenched tightly around the hilt of the borrowed sword. He looked almost as frightened as she felt. "Insolent eunuch," Viserys muttered as the palanquin lurched up at the menace. Magister Illyrio's words were honey. "Many important men will be at the feast tonight. Such men have enemies. The Khal must protect his guest. Yourself chief among them, your grace. No doubt the usurper would pay well for your head." "Oh yes," Viserys said darkly. "He has tried, Illyrio, I promise you that. His hired knives follow us everywhere. I am the last dragon, and he will not sleep easy while I live." The palanquin slowed and stopped. The curtains were thrown back, and the slave offered a hand to help Daenerys out. His collar, she noticed, was ordinarily bronze. Her brother followed, one hand still clenched hard around his sword hilt. It took 2 strong men to get Illyrio back to its feet. Inside the menace, the air was heavy with the scent of spices, pinchful and sweet lemon and cinnamon. They were escorted across the entire entry hall, while a mosaic of colored glass is depicted in the Dome of Valyria. Oil burned in the black iron lanterns all along the walls. Beneath an arch of twining stone leaves, a eunuch sang their coming. "Viserys of House Targaryen, you have heard of his name," he called in a high, sweet voice. "King of the Andals and the Rhoynar and the First Man, Lord of the 7 Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm. His sister Daenerys Stormborn, Princess of Dragonstone. His honorable host Illyrio Mopatis, Magister of the 3 cities of Pentos." They stepped past the eunuch into the pillared country yard overgrown in pale ivy. Moonlight painted the leaves in shade of bone and silver as the guests drifted among them. Many were Dothraki host lords, big men with red-brown skin, the droppings mustachios bound in metal rings, the black hair oiled up and braided, and hung with bells. Yet among them moved brave bravos and sellswords from the Pentos and Myr and Tyrosh, a red priest even fatter than Illyrio, hairy men from the port of Eben, and lords from the Summer Isles, with skin as black as ebony. Daenerys looked at them all in wonder, and realized, with a sudden start of fear, that she was the only woman there. Illyrio whispered to them, Those three are Drogo's blood riders. There, Illyrio whispered to them. He said, by the pillar Khal Moro, with the son of Rogoro. The man with the green beard is his brother of the Archon of Tyrosh, and the man behind him is Ser Jorah Mormont. The last name caught Dany. A knight? No less. Illyrio smiled through the beard, anointed with 7 oils, by the High Septon himself. What is he doing here? She bluttered. The usurper wanted his head, Illyrio told them. Some trifling effort, he sold some poachers to a Tyrosh slaver instead of giving them to the Night's Watch. Absurd law. A man should be able to do as he likes with his own shuttle. I shall wish to speak with Ser Jorah before the night is done, her brother said. Dany found herself looking at the knight curiously. He was an older man, past 40 and balding, but still strong and fit. Instead of the silks and cottons, he wore wool and leather. His tunic was dark green, embroidered with the likeness of a black bear standing on 2 legs. She was still looking at this strange man from the homeland she had never known when Magister Illyrio placed a moist hand on her bare shoulder. Over there, sweet princess, he whispered. There is the Khal himself. Dany wanted to run and hide, but her brother was looking at her, and if she displeased him, she knew she would wake the dragon. Anxiously, she turned and looked at the man. Viserys hoped would ask to weather before the night was done. The slave girl has not been far wrong, she thought. Khal Drogo was a head taller than the tallest man in the room, yet somehow light on his feet and graceful as the panther of Illyrio menagerie. He was younger than she'd thought, no more than 30. His skin was the color of polished copper, his thick mustachio bound with gold and bronze rings. I must go and make my submission, Magister Illyrio said. Wait here, I shall bring him to you. Her brother took her by the arm as Illyrio waddled over to the car, his fingers squeezing so hard that they hurt. Do you see his braid, sweet sister? Drogo's braid was black as midnight and heavy with scented oil, hung with tiny bells that rang softly as he moved. It swung well past his belt, below even his buttocks, the end of it brushing against the back of the thighs. You see how long it is, Viserys said. When the Fraki are defeated in combat, they cut off the braids in disgrace, so the world will know the shame. Khal Drogo has never lost a fight. He is Aegon the Dragonborn, the Dragon Lord. Come again, and you will be his queen. Dany looked at Khal Drogo. His face was hard and cruel, his eyes as cold and dark as onyx. Her brother hurt her sometimes when she walked the dragon, but he did not frighten her the way this man frightened her. I don't want to be his queen, she heard herself say in a small, tiny voice, thin voice. Please, please, Viserys, I don't want to. I want to go home. Home? He kept his voice low, but she could hear his fury in his tone. How are we going to go home, sweet sister? They took her home from us. He drew her into the shadows, out of sight, his finger digging into her skin. How are we going to go home? He repeated, meaning skinned landing at Dragonstone, and all the realm they had lost. Dany had only meant the rooms in Illyrio's estate, no true home surely, though all they had, but her brother did not want to hear that. There was no home here for him. Even the big house with the red door had not been home for him. His fingers dug hard into her arm, demanding an answer. I don't know, she said at last, her voice breaking. Tears welled in her eyes. I do, he said sharply. We'd go home with an army, sweet sister, with Khal Drogo's army. That is how we go home. And if you must wed him now and bed him for that, you will, he smiled at her. I'd let his whole Khalasar fuck you, if need be, sweet sister. All 40,000 men. And the horses too. If that was what it took to get my army. Be grateful is only a Drogo. In time, you may even learn to like him. Now, dry your eyes. Illyrio is bringing him over, and he will not see you crying. Dany turned and saw that it was true. Magister Illyrio, all smiles and bows, was escorting Khal Drogo over to where they stood. She brushed away unfallen tears with the back of her hand. Smile, Viserys whispered nervously, his hand falling to a hilt of his sword. And stand up straight. Let him see that you have breasts. Gods know you have little enough as it is. Daenerys smiled and stood up straight. And that is the end of this chapter, guys. I'm gonna end the stream right now. That was a very nice time with you guys. Very nice time. I'm gonna put... next chapter is Eddard. Eddard first. And as you can see, the Eddard and King Robert in the Crypt of Winterfell. Very nice. I really like this little session with you guys. I really like to keep going, playing like maybe a game or something. But I see most of the people went out just over here, and I was planning to do like a small stream. But I have enough energy to do like something little else, like maybe FTL or something. What do you think, guys? What do you think? I think I'm gonna end the stream right now. So, thank you very much, guys. That was a pleasure. I think that like reading each time, reading like 2 chapters or maybe 3. That's good enough for this kind of streams. I really enjoy the interaction with you guys, and having this nice feeling, nice energy. Experience the new illustrated version in English for the first time for myself, and trying to do the act as the voices. Thank you for the follow, the new follow, Zany Zapper. Really enjoying this community I develop over here and growing with me, and I really like the energies over here. I'm very close to the next follower goal. It really helps me a lot from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you guys. I'm gonna end the stream right now. Thank you very much, and see you probably tomorrow on the morning stream. I'm going to sleep early tonight, and see you guys later. Thank you very much. I really love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Have a great one. Cheers. Nice week, guys.